The movie begins with an old drunk man named Pfluger, who opens a legendary tomb at night. Suddenly, a bright light strikes the tomb, throwing him away. The scene then shifts to a teenage boy named Kelly, who is inside a supermarket. There, he meets his childhood friend Dominique, who also has a crush on him. Kelly talks to her for a while and then leaves. As he exits, we see him eating plastic and standing up to the bullies who always pick on him: Nelson, Reed, and Brad. Dominique sees the bullies harassing Kelly and comes to his rescue, warning them to leave him alone. However, the bullies take things too far, grabbing Kelly and throwing him into the trash. The supermarket owner comes out and scares the bullies away. Later, Kelly changes his clothes and heads to school, where he is treated poorly by his classmates. It turns out that the bullies had filmed themselves putting him in the trash and uploaded the video online, humiliating Kelly even more in front of his peers. Kelly assists his mother with groceries after school. Dominique's mother insults Kelly, upsetting Dominique. Red Hawk discovers his tomb has been opened and begins searching for the culprit. Kelly, who is suffering from malnutrition due to his habit of eating plastic and pencils, falls ill. The doctor advises Bernice to take Kelly to a psychiatrist, as his condition and lack of appetite seem to be psychological. Pfluger arrives in the city, claiming healing abilities. He cures an elderly woman's joint pain, impressing Bernice, who requests his help for her son. Red Hawk warns Pfluger against misusing his powers, obtained from opening a tomb, predicting ruin and death if he does so. However, Pfluger disregards the warning. Pfluger, upon touching Kelly, felt a strong current. After using drugs, Pfluger attempted to heal Kelly, but suffered a fatal shock upon contact. At that moment, Kelly wakes up, feeling much better and no longer hungry. Bernice calls the police and ambulance, and Pfluger's body is taken away. Officer Adler gives Bernice his number in case anything else happens. The next day, Kelly gets hurt while fixing his bike, but soon finds that the injury disappears. He realizes that Pfluger's healing powers have transferred to him. When he sees his mother, he takes the drink she was having, and Bernice is happy to see him eating and drinking like a normal person. Dominique also notices that Kelly looks different. Later, the bully Reed confronts Kelly and hits him, but Kelly feels no pain, and Reed is the one who gets hurt. Reed continues to attack Kelly in various ways, but he is the one who ends up injured, while Kelly remains unharmed. Kelly's life starts to improve, and he even gets a job at a restaurant. Arnold, Reed, his brother Nelson, and their father Wade visited Kelly's house at night. Wade accused Kelly of hurting Reed, confusing Bernice because Kelly was typically the victim of bullying. Bernice angrily dismissed Wade. Kelly revealed new powers. He redirects physical pain inflicted upon him onto the attacker. Bernice verified this ability and cautioned Kelly about revealing his powers. At school, the bullies try to harass Kelly again, but they end up hurting themselves. In class, Dominique's chocolate bar falls on Kelly's desk, and Kelly discovers that he can control people's thoughts if something belongs to them. He realizes this after eating a piece of Dominique's chocolate. That night, there is a school party, and Nelson, the bully, tries to harass Dominique, who is clearly uncomfortable. Kelly steps in and confronts Nelson, but before they can fight, Wade intervenes and separates them. Wade doesn't like Kelly, but is curious about the sudden change in him. After the party, Brad, Nelson, and their friends are in a car, and they see Kelly riding his bike. They start taunting him, but Kelly ignores them and continues on his way. However, Brad decides to hit Kelly with the car, and when they collide, Brad's face is disfigured, and he dies, while Kelly remains unharmed. Nelson immediately calls the police, and Dominique and her friend arrive at the scene, horrified by what they see. Kelly tells Dominique everything about his supernatural powers, and Dominique promises not to tell anyone. Nelson and his friends lie to the police, claiming that Kelly caused the accident and that Brad died trying to avoid him. However, Officer Adler doesn't believe their story and lets Kelly go. The next morning, Red Hawk learns of Pfluger's death and visits his grave. He examines the soil and realizes that Pfluger transferred his powers before dying. Red Hawk then visits Kelly at the restaurant where he works and confronts him about the accident, knowing that Kelly emerged unscathed. Kelly claims he was just lucky, but Red Hawk asks how Pfluger died. Kelly, afraid of Red Hawk, tells him that Pfluger died while trying to heal him. Kelly leaves, and Red Hawk lets him go. Meanwhile, Nelson and his bully friends continue to watch Kelly, planning to take revenge for Brad's death. They go to Kelly's house at night, thinking that Bernice has left for work and only Kelly is home. They attach a chain to the foundation of Kelly's house and pull it with their own truck, causing the house to collapse and a gas pipe to break. Bernice is trapped inside and the house catches fire, leading to her death. Kelly returns home and rushes into the burning house to save his mother, but it's too late. Bernice dies and Kelly is taken to the hospital, where he quickly recovers due to his powers. However, he is left traumatized by what happened. Officer Adler decides to hospitalize Kelly for another night to secure alternative housing. Red Hawk informs Adler that Kelly possesses supernatural abilities transferred from Pfluger, citing the accident as evidence, but Adler remains unconvinced. Red Hawk departs, instructing Adler to contact him if the situation changes. At Bernice's funeral, Dominique is by Kelly's side, trying to comfort him. She tells him that he is not responsible for his mother's death, but Kelly blames himself, saying that none of this would have happened if Pfluger's powers hadn't been transferred to him. Dominique gets upset with his reasoning and tries to convince him to stay, but Kelly leaves and goes to Pfluger's grave. He eats some plants growing on the grave, but becomes very ill and in pain. Sarah, Dominique's friend, sees this from a distance and becomes frightened, running away. Later, Officer Adler meets with Kelly and offers to find him a new home and a family to adopt him. They also discover that the chain used to collapse Kelly's house was moved intentionally, and Kelly realizes that the incident was not an accident, but a deliberate act. Meanwhile, Nelson and his friends show no remorse for what they did and decide to go to the river to spend time together. On their way, they see Kelly riding with Officer Adler and try to taunt him again. Kelly gets angry and jumps out of Adler's car, chasing after Nelson and his friends. They reach the river and go into the water while Kelly follows them. Using his powers, Kelly controls the trees and remains unseen. One of the bullies, Tucker, goes into the water, and Kelly grabs his shirt, eating a piece of it. He then uses his powers to choke Tucker, who dies underwater. Nelson and the others try to save Tucker, but fail. Kelly reveals himself and tells them that he killed Tucker and that they are next. Reed, terrified, runs away. Kelly returns to Officer Adler, and the bullies tell Adler that Kelly killed their friend. However, Adler doesn't believe their story and suspects that they are the ones who killed Tucker. That night, Sarah talks to Dominique about Tucker's death and suspects that Kelly is responsible. Dominique defends Kelly, but then they hear a knock on the window, and it's Kelly. He tells Dominique that he wants revenge on Nelson and his friends for killing his mother. Dominique suggests that they make Nelson confess to killing Bernice, and Kelly agrees. Kelly harassed Tony in chemistry class, attempting to force a confession about Bernice's death. Nelson intervened, but after Kelly insulted Sarah, Tony reacted by throwing chemicals at Kelly. However, it is Tony's face that gets burned and destroyed, and he dies from the pain. Sarah is devastated and hits Kelly in the stomach, but she is the one who feels the pain. Dominique is shocked by what she sees, and Officer Adler arrives. Kelly escapes, and Adler decides to cancel all classes for the day until Kelly is caught. Sarah believes plants from Pfluger's grave can help Kelly. She and Nelson retrieve these plants. Later, Adler, convinced of supernatural involvement, joins Red Hawk in performing rituals at Pfluger's grave. Meanwhile, Wade Combs takes his kids to soccer practice, and Adler is there to protect them from Kelly. Adler notices the chain in Nelson's truck and confronts Nelson and Reed about it, but they deny any involvement. Kelly then appears with a drill and eats a piece of Nelson's clothing, threatening him to confess to killing his mother. Nelson, prepared for this, pulls out a tube containing water from the plants at the grave. Adler tells Kelly not to do anything, but Kelly drills into his own leg, causing Nelson to feel the pain instead. Nelson screams in agony, and Kelly refuses to stop until Nelson confesses. Dominique intervenes and tries to stop Kelly, and he does stop, but Nelson takes advantage of the situation and throws the plant water on Kelly, causing him to collapse. Wade grabs Adler's gun and fires at Kelly, but Nelson is the one who gets shot and dies, along with Wade. Dominique blames Kelly for what happened and tells him that she loved the old Kelly, not the criminal he has become because of his powers. Adler promised to remove Kelly's powers and took him and Dominique to a tomb where Red Hawk performed a ritual. Red Hawk revealed the powers are now integral to Kelly, removable only through his death, transferring them to Red Hawk afterward. However, the police arrive and want to arrest Kelly. Adler lets Kelly and Dominique go, but the police shoot at them and both fall into the tomb. Dominique is dying, and Kelly, seeing the only person he loved dying, can't bear it. He eats Pfluger's corpse to end his powers forever. They are both taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and on the way, Dominique suddenly wakes up, unharmed and without any injuries from the gunshot. It is revealed that Kelly's powers have transferred to Dominique since Kelly died. This marks the end of the episode. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next episodes. Bye.